You're watching Life Report, pro-life talk, real-world answers. Life Report trains people to more effectively defend their pro-life beliefs while honestly examining the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. We're the show other pro-lifers may have warned you about. This is Life Report.
We're the pro-life show other pro-lifers may have warned you about.
Yeah,
Like we're going around warning people.
You know that's happened at least once.
Yeah,
you know
that's
some
true.
pro-lifers been like, don't listen to that Josh Brom guy.
Those
He's
young
gonna tell you."
upstarts out there telling us.
They don't know anything, those young people. They talk about, they think they're bad pro-life arguments. I love them. Yeah.
Anyway, it
I just have
makes
that
me
vision
laugh.
that someone's doing that. So.
Someone somewhere. One person.
Welcome to Life Report. For the first time, we're streaming live, which is very cool. It's audio only for like a month, but then we're gonna be streaming video. We've got this cool HD webcam. We're gonna stick it in the corner of the studio, and this is for people if you want to actually interact with the show. Then what you want to do is you can interact with us through Twitter. You can use the hashtag Life Report and tweet, and you can put in comments or questions, and we will sometimes respond to them during a show.
Only sometimes.
Probably not this first one. And then also what we'll do is after the show is over, for 10 minutes, we're going to do web-exclusive videos where we are directly interacting, getting all those comments and questions in that we didn't have a chance to during a 28-minute show. Because it's been hard enough for us to get used to getting all of our thoughts in a 28-minute format. So So we're going to do as much interaction as possible during the actual show, and definitely every single show is going to have a 10-minute web exclusive where we're just interacting with fans. You can also interact through Facebook. And so you can become a fan of our fan page, which you should be anyways, listed earlier.
Yes, I did say that.
And we'll have we have a discussion board. You can type in your comments right there through Facebook, and we will respond. You can always call the show and leave a voicemail if you call 551-851-LIFE. And I'm laughing to myself because I know that on the video, it's going to have...
Wait, is that 551 or 555?
No, 559. Watch this. This is cool. 559-851-LIFE.
How much you want to bet your finger's not actually
you
hitting
did
those
say-
numbers?
I sure hope they are, because otherwise I'm going to look so stupid.
You did say 551.
I did?
Yes, you did.
It's 559.
yeah.
It's a Fresno area code.
Yes.
559-851-LIFE.
Don't call that other number. It's probably a sweet old lady who...
know, right?
Well, actually, maybe she needs a friend.
What's Life Report? Okay, here's what we're doing today. This is going to be Life Report's first lightning round episode, because we are doing a review of what has probably been our most popular series ever that we haven't done.
Which was like how many episodes long?
We got 2/3 through it. We did 9 parts of it, and we're almost finished, and then it kind of tapered off because I just I got burnt out a little bit from it. I'm a loser. Fine, I'm a loser. That's what it is.
So we're about to put like 9 episodes
into one because we've got this new wonderful audience with KNXT, and they've never seen any of that stuff. And so we're gonna do kind of a quick review in this episode, and then next week we're doing part 10. And so here's what we're doing. We found this YouTube video by a pro-choice person named Kenna, who is a pro-choice activist, a gay rights activist, and she had made this video called Pro-Life Lies That I've Heard. And it's just a video with 55 statements that Kenna has either seen pro-lifers say on YouTube or face-to-face. And you're not always going to get it's not like she spent all this time talking to the best pro-life philosophers in the world and came up with these 55 statements. Everybody knows, like, YouTube commenters, you never really know what you're going to get. You don't get always the best comments.
Definitely.
Which is why we want our fans to be making comments on YouTube, because then you stand out from the crowd. But, sometimes people, very well-meaning people, can go out there and say things that are a little off. And I noticed when I watched the video that I agreed with Kenna on over half of them. That it's like, oh, I don't like these statements at all.
They were very bad arguments.
There was bad arguments. There were things I just disagreed with. There are some things that were just jerky, like like a jerk said them, obviously, like very mean-spirited. But then some I agreed with. Some were like, oh, she's quoting a pro-lifer, and I agree with the pro-lifer.
Right.
And maybe Kenna just hasn't heard maybe a very good argument for why that person said that.
Right.
So we decided, why don't we do a series where we're going to talk about every single one of those statements, and we do about 4 an episode, which is all we've been able to fit.
Yeah.
And we go through, and on the ones where we agree with the pro-lifer, we kind of give a defense for what the pro-lifer said.
Yep.
To help pro-lifers to defend their views. And then if we disagree with the pro-lifer who made the statement, then we're going to say why. And it was a good opportunity for our pro-choice listeners to kind of see us being willing to say, yeah, we don't necessarily agree with every single thing a pro-life person says. So what I've done, we've responded to 36 of these already in 9 parts. If you want to check out those earlier shows, and you want to go to prolifepodcast.net, you scroll to the bottom where there's a whole list of categories that our shows kind of fall into. And the very first one of those categories is Pro-Life Lives Video. You click on that and it'll automatically put up the 9 episodes that we've done, and you can do them in order. You can, or you can choose which one of those. You know, if you're like, ooh, I really want to know what they said about that one, you can do them out of order. It doesn't bother me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through half of them.
As fast as we can.
We're going to get in 60 seconds on each. I know we can do this. You got 60 seconds. We're going to talk about kind of my favorite 18 of these. Some of them we're going to agree with the pro-lifer. Some of them we will not. I will do a little bit, and then you guys will do a little bit, and we're going to move on, and I will cut you off.
We need the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire ticker timer when they do.
Right? I almost thought about setting up a buzzer, and then I thought it'd be too corny, and that Grace might not want me to do it.
I agree. It would be corny.
Here we go. Okay, statement number 1. The pro-lifer made this statement that Kenna is calling out, saying that this is a pro-life lie. The pro-lifer said that partial birth abortion is cruel. And I actually agree with that statement, because if you understand what partial birth abortion does, and you understand that unborn children at that stage feel pain, which I think that one is pretty much
very obvious.
We can definitely tell by 24 weeks the child feels pain. I would say that's cruel, albeit maybe not as cruel as a D&E, which is what they do more often now instead.
You know, the thing that bothers me about using this type of statement, though, Josh, is it is cruel. It is a factual statement. It is true.
Right.
Context means everything when we're talking about abortion. And we've said this before. If you go back and view our episodes for our KNXT audience, you're going to hear me say it a lot. Context and your approach and your demeanor and your attitude is so important. If you're going to use a statement like this,
which is true,
understand that the person who's hearing it may have no idea where you're coming from. You may have to develop the relationship to be able to make this effective.
Right. Okay, next. The pro-lifer said the Bible says abortion is wrong. Now, I understand why Kenneth said this is a lie, because technically the word abortion is not anywhere in the Bible. However, I think if you properly understand the Bible, we can make a very strong biblical argument for the pro-life case, which would go like this. The Bible says that the unborn are valuable beings. They're made in God's image, so we're intrinsically valuable. Bible says God hates the shedding of innocent blood. So if the unborn are human, like we believe, then I would say the Bible is pro-life.
And that's a very, very, very plain argument. Another reason that someone might say this is a lie is if they don't believe the Bible.
Yeah.
So there is a situation where that would be a bad
because
argument.
I don't believe the Quran, but the Quran can say, something
That's true.
like you should treat
say,
people well or whatever, and I wouldn't say, well, that's a lie, because I don't believe. It's like, no.
The statement is true, but there are situations when you don't necessarily want to use it.
I wouldn't phrase it that way. I wouldn't say the Bible says abortion is wrong. I would say the Bible properly understood would it would be on the
properly
pro-life
understood.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Statement number 3: we're doing good. Illegalizing abortion will prevent it. Is the quote. Illegalizing abortion will prevent it.
Interesting.
I agree with the statement. I don't think it's going to prevent all abortions.
No.
I think it'll prevent some of them, because there are a lot of women that would have had abortions before Roe versus Wade that chose not to because it was against the law.
Right, and it has to do with your definition of prevent. If prevent means there's none, 0, but if prevent means reduce, then definitely. I like to think that most women don't want to break the law. And, obviously, it's not going to prevent all abortions. If you look at our court system, laws are broken all the time. We have all, but murder happens. Cases of racism still happen. Those are illegal. And it's reduced because of the way we tell people it's wrong and the way it's prosecuted, but it still happens.
We have a second listener, just so you guys know.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome to Tom in Fresno. Okay. Statement of we've done this a few times, and we can't do this in 60 seconds. Planned Parenthood is racist. Here's the quote.
There's a can of worms.
Here's what I'll say. I'll sum up my view in 15 seconds. My view is that Planned Parenthood does not do what they do based on racism. I think they're doing it based on greed, and they're targeting their natural demographic, which is poorer people that don't have health insurance. If you want to see a much more lengthy expansion of what I think about this, then you can go to prolifepodcast.net, scroll to the bottom where the categories are, click on Josh Brom Live. I did a Planned Parenthood Unveiled speech where we spent over a half an hour. I gave the 4 pro arguments for why some people think Planned Parenthood is racist.
Or stemmed from racism. That's kind of more common.
Stemmed from racism. I attempted to refute them, and we had a whole debate with the audience afterwards, so you can go and see more there. Now, Kyle's biggest contribution to the show ever was on this. And what is it that how did you prove that Planned Parenthood is not racist?
I am going to set it up with, even this is not ironclad in terms of the cut reasoning, but in terms of racism, to be racist, presumably you promote one race above most or all others.
Right.
Which would mean that if Planned Parenthood actively was trying to promote a specific race or diminish another race, it would accept mothers of unborn children for abortion procedures from a certain demographic and reject mothers from another.
Right.
I don't think there's a Planned Parenthood out there that regularly performs abortions that has a Caucasian young woman from upper middle class walk in and say, I'd like an abortion, and they say, no, I'm sorry, we don't do your type. That I think that's an important piece to keep in line. And I think, Josh, your reasoning is great. Listen to that full episode that full webcast. It's perfect.
Thank you very much. Okay, that next statement, abstinence-only education will prevent abortion. Now, Liz, this is one where I was like, I don't want to do any research on this. Liz can handle this. And what is it? You researched like what both sides were saying, and this is a year ago.
Yeah, it's slightly old research at this point.
What did you determine?
I don't have time to go into all the statistics. Basically, there needs to be more research done on the topic that's more specific and more focused. But there is definitely evidence that abstinence education can lower teen sex rates, which logically would follow that it would lower teen pregnancies and then maybe lower abortion rates. So it's very inferred. But the idea behind it is kind of like the idea behind illegalizing abortion will prevent it. The idea is that it's going to prevent as in reduce, not as in zero, obviously. But if teens are abstinent, they're not going to have abortions.
So kind of the question becomes, does abstinence-only education encourage teens not to have sex more than comp sex ed? And that's a whole debate that
huge debate.
I've seen. So I would say the pro-life statement might be true, but more research is needed, and I'm not going to make that case.
So be careful before using that.
The next one I thought was fascinating, though, because I also delegated this research project to you. And this is one that pro-lifers say all the time, and we had never seen anyone actually analyze the numbers. The pro-life statement is a third of our generation is missing due to abortion. And you looked up the numbers, and what did you find?
Yeah, I believe I crunched, and I could double check the census numbers against some Planned Parenthood statistics, and you can see my research. It's posted part 2 or part 3 is when we got to this statement in our series.
This was part 3.
Part 3. So you can look at my research and see and let me know. But the number that I came out with, I believe, was 27.8% of our generation. I defined what our generation would be, but that will change with time. So you have to be careful with that.
Absolutely.
So our recommendation, so our recommendation was, instead of saying a third, say a fourth. And technically that's rounding down 2 or 3%.
But you're being safe.
But then you're being safe. And if people actually say, no, there's no way a fourth, is like, technically, if you really look at the numbers, it's like 27.89%.
Yeah.
But,
that leaves room for some variables.
Absolutely. You've got the fourth. So that was interesting. Fetuses can breathe.
Oh boy.
Is the pro-life statement.
Which sounds just crazy when you hear it.
Unless you understand the way this works, fetuses can and do breathe in the womb, but they don't use their lungs. They breathe through the umbilical cord. after birth, not right at birth, but usually in the minutes after birth, they cut the umbilical cord and the baby starts breathing with his or her lungs. It's like switching from AC power to DC power.
I love that illustration.
Albeit some people, this is kind of this new wave of kind of more like a natural, or some people think this is better. They'll actually wait about an hour after birth before cutting the umbilical cord. And so, yes, I would say fetuses definitely breathe.